Well, hello. It's Philosophy Friday, and I wanted to share with you my favorite author from China, my favorite Chinese author. I would argue that this man is in fact one of the most important artistic figures in contemporary Chinese history. His name is Gao XingJian. Mr. Gao is not only a prolific and profound writer, he is also a playwright and a traditional Chinese ink painter. So he is in fact a polymath. This book is called The Case for Literature, and I would highly recommend anyone interested in Asian literature and Chinese literature or understanding contemporary Chinese culture to read this. He is a Nobel Prize winner. He's the first Chinese person to win the Nobel Prize. I'm going to read you an excerpt from this book. It is an excerpt called The Author's Preface to Without Isms. So I will read several pages. This is the 18th of July, 1955, France. In what I call without isms, without may be treated as the verb, that is, to be without, and isms as the noun, to be without the noun. It may be thought of as a verb-object construction, or even shortened to no isms. However, if without isms is interpreted as a noun, it could be inappropriately misconstrued as an ism, such as nihilism. The premise of without isms is being without. It is not premised on a void, because then there would be no premise. Of course, no conclusion, and not even any isms. In being without isms is not rashly attempting to establish some sort of theory, but this is not the same as not speaking. Yet, there is no beginning and no end. It is speaking for the sake of speaking and does not lead to any conclusions. Without isms is merely a form of resistance against death by a life that is full of vitality. While it cannot change one's situation, it is at least a gesture. And artistic creation is a trace left by this gesture. Of course, there can also be many other traces, but these are for the individual to choose. It is a matter of individual choice whether an artist will be with or without isms. In my case, I choose to be without isms. To be without isms is not to be without reverence. But it is not reverence for spiritual beings, might or death. It is reverence for the boundless unknowable that lies beyond the dividing line of death. Without isms seems to be pessimistic, but is not pessimism. It is stopping before the brink of despair to look silently around. To know that one is without isms means that one does not need to be afraid or keep searching for something to rely on. And so one is sublimely at ease. This is because to be without isms, one is indeed without isms. I highly recommend Gao XingJian's work. I highly recommend reading this book and enjoying all that he has to say. He is not only brilliant and profound, he's also very humorous, and I have found his insights to give me a great benefit for understanding much of Chinese culture presently. Thank you. Please join us next time for Philosophical Fridays. All right, let's be honest. That was one heck of a boring video. I promise I'll do better next time. I love Gao XingJian's work. Perhaps you would like to check out, instead of this very philosophical read, check out instead his book, Buying a Fishing Rod for My Grandfather. It's a collection of short stories. They are brilliant. They are romantic in a romanticism sense, and just wonderful. Very easy to read, and it'll give you a better picture of China. So please check it out, and I promise next time won't be as boring to read.